Hey everyone, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home. And we have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today. So let's get started.
Today is episode 252, Ideas for a Memorable Tablescape. And you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/252.
I'm excited about talking about tables.
I know. Well, we're going to get right in because, setting a beautiful table is something that all three of us love to do. And if you're listening, you probably love to set a beautiful table too. And we're going to talk about what maybe separates a beautiful table from a memorable table, because I'm sure all the tables you set are beautiful.
And this is going to be fun for me because I just found out that we are hosting a bridal shower or a wedding shower. It's a couple shower at our farm. Yes, I was just informed.
But not for Evie.
Not for Evie. No, it's
way
for someone
too early
else.
for Miss Evie.
Oh my goodness. No, don't even say that. That's just scary.
Okay.
No.
Well,
so,
having hosted many in my life, Anita, if you need any suggestions, I would love to help you out.
Well, and
I've hosted so fun.
I've hosted tons. I've actually hosted tons, but it's been a while. So
wedding, bridal showers you've hosted,
bridal and
baby showers.
Baby showers. Yeah, sure. Hey,
oh my gosh!
I used to give parties all the time, but my work schedule doesn't allow for it.
I know. So. One of the most memorable bridal showers I ever hosted was for my Southern friend, Loretta. And she says, Loretta, if you ask her name, I love it. And so, Loretta, if you're listening, hi. And in the South, which I wasn't familiar with, they, instead of doing it all themselves, they gather up their best group of girlfriends and you work as a group to put it on.
Oh, well, that's what we used to do.
Yeah. That was so much fun. Like some of us worked on decorations, some of us worked on the menu, so we sort of broke it all up and it was a big friend gathering just to get all the work done. And that was probably the most fun party I ever threw, because it was a big team effort by people, that we all love each other.
Okay, well, who is this for? I need to know.
It was for Loretta's daughter-in-law.
No, yeah, but Anita's, because when she's doing
I'm sorry.
It's somebody that Kevin works with.
Oh, well, how nice of you.
How lovely. And the farm, what a gorgeous spot.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so should
When's
be fun.
That going to be?
Well, I don't know yet. We'll see. It's still, I just kind of was, can you do it? And I said, yes, I can do it this date or this date. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we better
still in the beginning.
Well, let's dive into memorable tablescapes. How about an idea from you, Kelly?
Well, I love, obviously a beautiful table is, something that we all enjoy setting up. I think, it's kind of like getting ready for the prom. Like sometimes it's even more fun just to get ready for it, it's setting it all up and think about it and make your plans.
But not the cleanup. Yeah.
No, not the cleanup. Right. But to make it really memorable, sometimes you want to have a little takeaway. So then they not only do they have the memory in their mind, but they have something they can take away, enjoy at home. So I love to do little individual florals at each place setting. And of course, this depends whether you do a floral or some other little takeaway. It may depend on the season or if it's, a certain occasion or something like that. But florals kind of can cover all the bases, whether it's a bridal shower or it's Christmas Eve dinner or something like that. Just a tiny little vase. And you could, again, use those little yogurt jars that we've got everyone buying all over the country, those little wee ones. And I just found another brand that does them with even a wider mouth, so you can actually get more flowers in there.
Although I do love the brand that we talked about because they're delicious.
They are delicious. So just you have your centerpieces and then rift off those and just do tiny little ones. And maybe even you do, say if you had that tiny little jar and you filled it with, for Christmas, maybe a little sprig of holly and maybe some berries and maybe some little white flowers. And then you could do the place card and do it on a tag and maybe tie it around the top of that little jar, something like that. So florals would be my first go-to, but some little takeaway that can be at each place, whether it sits on the center of the plate or it's off to the side a little bit, something that they can take home.
Oh
with
yeah.
them.
I love the idea of the individual flowers for each person, the individual vase. That's something that I do a lot. So I'm totally with you on that idea. And also even individual little Perrier bottles would be perfect for a little.
Oh yeah.
And girls, that was my number one thing to do.
Really?
Yeah, number one on my list is give them a takeaway. And what I like to use is something seasonal. So like in the fall, like a little pumpkin, maybe I've painted the stem gold or written their initial on it, and they can take it home. You can get those Sharpies that are gilded colors, and you can write, fall or gather or something like that, or like you were saying, Christmas, or if it's winter, like a pair of warm socks, or just something fun, like socks, clean, of course, new, stuck in the a mug or in the a glass, and that's just like sort of a really fun conversation point.
That's so cute. I wouldn't have really gone so far off piste, like to do socks, but that is so cute.
But
like
in the wintertime, everybody wants them. Yeah,
they do want them.
absolutely.
Those little fuzzy socks. My girls love to get those.
Or
little
even
fuzzy
like
socks.
a little thing of homemade hot chocolate. It doesn't have to be a lot, but something that they can take home.
Right.
And I would say take home and be usable, not like a tchotchke, because we have enough tchotchkes. So something that or a little thing, a hand cream or something that, or like you said, a plant, something that people could use, and then it's disposable.
Yeah, I think I would probably go more with the flowers. But you could definitely go with a little gift, a little takeaway gift for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea. Another idea that I like to think about is applying some of our decorating rules for the table. And so something that I often do, and you both probably do it too, is to use the limited color palette. Now, I think you can break that rule too. That'll work because I have fiesta dishes and every dish is a different color. And I've also done parties where every teacup and saucer is different, a different pattern. But it's also quite elegant to have just one or two colors on the table. I think that's a pretty way to go.
And Anita, I like that idea. And I'll just carry that further. Set a mix and match table. Like not all your dishes have to be the same. And I love dishes that are different. Like if you have 8 people, serve 4 plates of one size and 4 plates, like maybe 4 square and 4 round, and mix them up. So if you don't have a place setting of 8, you can still mix and match it up. And I think it makes for a very interesting and fun table, especially if you do it in a limited color palette, then it doesn't look so disjointed.
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Yes, I think that's really key. If you are going to mix a lot of different patterns and things like that, then you definitely want to take the advice of the limited color palette. We had a question come through from one of our listeners, also one of our shoppers at Bespoke Decor, Bonnie Lott. Bonnie, if you're listening, thank you so much.
Hey, Bonnie.
And
Hi, Bonnie
and I were chatting over the weekend on email about just this very thing, setting a pretty table. And she was asking me my opinion. Did I think that you could mix transfer wares with some other China patterns like Limoges, like maybe some florals or something like that? And I give her my thoughts in the email, but maybe at this point, you too want to ring in on that. How do you feel about mixing them all in one place setting?
I think if they all go, I think that's a great idea, of course.
If there's a color thread.
Right. If there's
Right.
some, if they work together, if they coordinate well, then why not?
Right. I think that's so pretty. Like she was saying, her thought would be to start with a bigger white plate, like maybe the oversized sort of buffet style white plate, then a transferware plate, and then maybe some decorative hand painted Limoges or something like that on top of that. I think it would be absolutely stunning.
And I think she's really onto a key idea. If you break it up with white, I think that makes it more palatable. Ha ha, pun intended.
Yeah. And it's interesting. A friend of ours really prefers black napkins because then her lipstick doesn't show. And I thought it was a very interesting thing to think about, because I was thinking about buying some more napkins or making some, and I just thought, do I go black? I think that is a good idea, where you don't, if somebody's not going to get the lipstick, it's not going to be real obvious there's lipstick on it. I don't know. What do you both think about that?
Well, I have a little story about that. I had never heard of such a thing with the black napkin. And as part of my volunteer duties that, things that I engaged in here in town for when my girls were a little bit younger, I just stopped doing this one particular thing last year, but I was the general chair for the cotillion somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Ooh, wow.
But I thought it was a 1-year job and it was 7. But anyway, I had a fabulous opportunity. And I mentioned this because these 2 women who run it was a family owned business that went back, like 100 years. Anyway, lovely, lovely ladies. But every year I would be invited to go have lunch with them when we would start. And of course, I have very nice table manners, but here I am. It's almost like having lunch with Emily Post, they are the cotillion ladies. They know everything about manners and things like that. And, what fork to use and all of this. So I went and had lunch with them for the first time. So this was, probably 8 years ago, first year. And we went to this nice restaurant that they invited me to, and we sat down, and the one woman said to the waiter, she just made a motion, pointed to the napkin, and he quickly whisked away our white napkins and came back with black ones.
See, it's a thing.
And
it is a thing.
Well, it is a thing, right? And she could probably tell that I was like, like, what was that? And she was like, Kelly, we're all wearing black, and
That's
you
right.
don't want to have white lint on your
Well,
black
that
dress.
as well. Right.
And, she didn't talk about the lipstick thing, but isn't that true? It never even occurred to me.
Well, this is a thing that men have darker trousers and they should be given a dark napkin. So it
men
doesn't,
too,
so there's,
yeah.
oh yeah, this is why, I think this is sort of how it all originated. This has been, oh gosh, years and years and years ago. Bob and I were out to dinner at a place that no longer exists around here, but a pretty high-end Italian restaurant. And we were given black napkins and we sat down and we're eating and then we're done dinner. And then I happened to see one of my children's teachers. So we went up and we talked to them and had a really nice chit chat and we're leaving. And as Bob's opening the door for me to get in the car, he had his black napkin still tucked into his pants. I said, "Oh, Bobby, don't tuck your napkin into your pants." But that's the downside of a dark napkin. You can't see it in a dark place if you're wearing it out the door.
Well, there's a downside to everything, I suppose.
Yes. But yes, I think that, well, we're sort of off track here, so let's get us back on track. I think not only what you put on a table is memorable, it's your conversation around the table. And what I do now, and it was started by my wonderful friend Barb, who's a fabulous hostess. So everybody has a chance to talk at the table. She asks people if there's anybody new or people getting together, tell us your life story in a couple of minutes. Well,
your life story in a couple of minutes.
Wow. I know. And it takes forever, but people find such commonalities. And I have heard the best stories ever sitting around a table listening to people tell their stories. Only one time was it so tragic. We were all depressed.
Oh, no.
But other than that, it's mostly very successful. And people sort of pair off because they've got commonalities and I feel it. And so I use that and just give it a try. It is really a wonderful way to get everybody, even the quiet people around your table, interested.
So
in the
how do you get the
conversation.
talkers to cut their story short so the quiet ones can tell theirs?
Because
That's
we put sort of a time limit on. She's a little bit bossy, but in a good way, and say, okay, well, we're going to go on to the next person. So let's wrap it up.
So another thing I like to think about when I am setting a table is to think about not only are the dishes all going together, but is the flatware working with the dishes? So I think it's fun to choose from different types of flatware. So I have silver, I have regular flatware, I have bronzeware, which is kind of brass colored. I have some of the French flatware that has the black handles, and I have some flatware that has pink handles. So it's kind of fun to pull out the forks and knives and spoons that go with my dishes. And I also have some French silverware, which is always fun to use. And the cool thing about the French silverware is that the elegant part, the design, is on what Americans would call the bottom side or the back side of the forks and spoons. So I set the table with the fork and the spoon, basically what we would say is upside down.
That is such a pretty look.
Oh, wow.
I like that look.
I never knew that. Why did they do that?
I don't know. It's just another one of those French things, you know.
Those Frenchies.
But the stamp, you know, the letters are on the top of the fork and spoon rather than the bottom. So it really, to have the pretty table, you need to use them upside down on the table.
But don't do that with our American silverware because you'll have where it's made from.
Right. Yeah, don't do that.
Here's another thing that I think is so much fun. Eat in a place that is not your dining room or your kitchen, like al fresco dining. I think that always makes a memorable tablescape. I remember one Thanksgiving it was relatively warm, and we had Thanksgiving on our croquet lawn, which under these beautiful maples. Now they were almost down, but maple leaves were underfoot, and it just was so beautiful. Also, I've served lunch in my living room, and I pulled up almost like it wouldn't be high tea because it wasn't a high table, but like a low tea, but we actually had a full lunch just by holding our plates. And so go someplace other than your dining room and have a fun time. Like we have a big porch, and when I'm having just a couple people, I'll set a little table on my porch.
Oh, that's a great idea. And it's always fun. Everybody wants to eat outside, assuming the weather is
and
nice.
The bugs aren't bad.
So, yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's a
I
good
know.
point. But at the farm, I don't know, the wind's blowing. We really don't have a problem with bugs there for some reason. But it's Texas. I don't know, but we just don't. Must be because of the wind. But I agree. Everyone wants to eat outside.
Yeah, it's just something a little unexpected. People come in, they think they're going to sit in the dining room. I love that idea. Okay, I have another. I think I don't like, especially when it's people that you don't know that well, when people have to sort of wait for something to come over to them, or, you don't want to interrupt somebody's conversation to ask for the salt and pepper or the creamer or something like that. So how about getting those tiny little individual salt and pepper
cute
shakers?
idea.
And then you just have them, to sort of right at the top of the plate someplace, and everybody can have their own, and they don't have to give. And sometimes people, not only do they not want to interrupt someone's conversation, maybe they don't want to give the impression to the hostess / possible cook that
they didn't salt their food.
Needs to have a little more
or
salt.
if you're a salter
like
like me, you just need extra salt.
Right. They might not know, that they might not feel comfortable asking. So they might just go through the meal without the salt. But this way, and they're so inexpensive. I found some on Amazon. We could put a link in the show notes. They're like $12 for a whole bunch of little sets. And they're so darn cute. Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants.
I think it's really important when you have a guest. I like to pair people who have never met before. So, you have people that do know each other, but also have people that don't. And so I think that just makes for a really interesting mixing. And then I like to use place cards because I want people to I want people to sit together who actually maybe don't know each other so that they can get to know each other. And also I'll do things like, like as we're milling around, Sally, I'm going to put you next to Amy because Amy doesn't really know many people here. Would you mind just sort of making her feel comfortable? And then Amy feels very comfortable because Sally's like including her. And I think that makes a really memorable time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing to think about. And getting back to the table, another tip that I have for candles is not to use the scented kind. Because you've got you don't want it to fight with the beautiful smells of this wonderful heavenly food that you've been preparing. So, I try to use, and also I think we talked about this before. I usually stick with white candles. So you might do the tapers, or you might do, kind of the thicker candles or the tea lights. And also that may depend on how much lighting there is, especially if you're outside. Like I said, I'm going to be hosting on my back porch again. So I'm going to have to decide how much candlelight I need back there, but we'll definitely be using
Anita, that is so important.
That is going to be so much fun.
That's so important because you don't want to mix magnolia scent with a roast beef.
Yeah.
Good point.
Another thing that is with candles that can make a table really memorable is going a little overboard with the candles. In fact, I think you can never really have too many candles, but I like to cluster tapers that are different heights together rather than just having one and one. And so maybe do a cluster of 3 or 5, again, using your odd numbers, and have them at different heights. And even if the tapers, the actual stick is the same height, the day or two before, I'll burn a few candles down lower so you have the variety of heights in the little cluster. And when someone walks in, you don't have to light them right away if this is not the first room that people are going to be coming to. If they're going to come in and hang out in your living room for a little while and then come into the dining room right before everybody's going to come and go in and light all your candles. And maybe I think the ones on the table should be the real deal, with the match or with a lighter, light those up. But then around the room, you can do those other types of the battery operated candles. And so you could have those going and then just light up the table right before everybody comes in. And to walk into a room that's, sort of with low ambient light and then the candlelight is pretty spectacular.
What a great idea.
So agree.
Another thing is people love anything monogrammed. So if you have something at a place setting that has their monogram on it, that is such a crowd pleaser. So, and that can actually be a takeaway as well. But, you can take white dishes and stencil a monogram on them and have them wash off when they're done, if they're just decorative so people can see that, or a beautiful place card with their name done in beautiful calligraphy that they could even take home. But something that either has a 1-letter, a 3-letter, a name, some kind of a monogram on it is something that's very, very popular and memorable.
So we talked about the stencils in the last podcast episode. So what if you had some small stencils and then on your plate, if you, like she was saying, this temporary monogram idea, if you have maybe, for example, a chocolate dessert, so you get out the stencil of the letter of everybody's first name on their plate and just sprinkle some cocoa powder on it and then pick it up. So it just has their initial next to their little dessert. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh my gosh, that is so memorable. Wait, okay, so you have the dessert plate, and then you would what? You would put the little dessert on one side and you have the monogram on the other on the same plate?
No, I would serve the dessert on a plate that you're in the back room, you're sprinkling the cocoa, or maybe you've probably already done it ahead of time on each person's plate. So then when you pass out the desserts, it already has their monogrammed in cocoa powder on their plate. Isn't that fun?
I want my monogram in cocoa powder.
Let me just throw this in. I'm part of a maker studio, and we have these gorgeous mesh stencils that have different kinds of letters, all kinds of fonts, and you can get them to do that, and they would be gorgeous. So we'll put that in the that link in the show notes.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking like chocolate covered strawberries. Even like you could have it all plated, and it would just be easy. You know, like maybe some truffles and chocolate covered strawberries on like one side, and then your monogram
and a little,
idea.
just in a corner. That'd be beautiful.
Yeah. You'd have to have a place to store those because I don't know if you could even stack
I doubt
them.
you could stack them. And this is another idea. This isn't the plate exact. I mean, this isn't the table exactly, but memorable tablescapes are really more than the table itself. But one time we had a party and we knew a piano player and he came, and I had a piano for decades in my house. I used to play. And not well. That's why we got rid of it. And he played the piano during cocktail hour and then during dinner. And he played for his dinner. I know. Wow. And that was, everybody commented on that. And I'm sure they have remembered it because how often does that happen? Or just even set the mood with some really great music.
Okay. Well, that is very true. And I'll throw in something that people might not have thought of. My girls are singers, so they're always involved in their school choir. And then they sang for the Los Angeles Children's Chorus for years. And one of the things that the Los Angeles Children's Chorus used to auction off at their annual benefit was a group of the kids to come to your house at Christmas time. They're assuming whoever bids on this is planning on having a Christmas party or something like that. Or I guess you could just have them come sing for yourself. But the kids would come and, it would be sort of, the kids would volunteer or they'd pick, 8 or 10 of them or whatever. And they would come and sing Christmas carols. And and depending, we never won it, I guess. I don't know, but we were invited to a party where they came and our 2 girls were singing, and the kids they had a big front porch, and everybody just came out and the kids sang. And then my girls have been involved at other times where they actually came into the dining room, depending on the size of the house and the party and stuff like that. But if you have, if you're having a Christmas party like that and in your neighborhood, there are probably choirs. It doesn't have to be children. There's probably church choirs and things like that. And you could contact them and just say, hey, could we get a group of your singers to come over and sing, 3 or 4 Christmas carols? We'll donate to your, church fund or something like that. And it is pretty spectacular.
Yes. Oh, how fun is
what
that?
What a great idea. And this has been so fun. I've gotten so many ideas for my party. So thanks to both of you for my shower.
And you too.
And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home and a beautiful tablescape. Until next time.
Thanks so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, then subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.